all you gridiron fanatics. Glad you could join us here for another episode of Gridiron Gab Pro Style, where we gab about all things pro football, from the scoops of the regular season to the scores of the postseason and the picks in the offseason. Let's start gabbing.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dutch! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! You're making me, you're driving me nuts!
But behold,
What's going on, you guys? Thank you once again for joining us for another episode of the off-season edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo, going along, making this trek down all 32 teams. But before we get started, you guys, this Washington Commanders off-season edition show has really hit it off, you guys. I'm not trying to get you guys to watch it, but I'm going to tell you, this is crazy. And I love the love I'm getting out of DC. You guys are awesome. Marjorie Oaks 3092 also commented on Sam Howell. As you know, Miss Marjorie, if you saw the show, I was a big proponent of staying with Sam Howell and building draft capital. So I don't want to get into it because we're here to talk about, but thank you so much, Marjorie. But we're here to discuss the Tennessee Titans. And surprisingly enough, this was a football team that, in my opinion, they were better than what they're... I don't even want to say that they were better. I think it was just I don't know. The Titans were just one of those teams. I'm just kind of like looking at this thing and I'm saying...
is that your best?
Yeah, it's just hard to really wrap my head around it. You know, you look at you look at these statistics and it just does not make sense. It really does not, as to how the Titans were incapable of just doing anything. And I think really when we look at what this team was incapable of doing was they just did not have a good run scheme. Part of it was run scheme, because I can tell you, looking at the 6-11 Titans team and seeing what they were incapable of doing, because Will Levis is, in my opinion, I have to go back. I know it's just a rookie sampling, but I have to say that Will Levis looked pretty darn impressive last season, playing 9 games. He was 149 of 255, just under 60% completion percentage. He threw 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, but he was sacked 28 times. So in comparison, Ryan Tannehill was sacked 32 times in 10 starts. So this was the one that I was kind of looking up to. I think it was okay to give Will Levis his opportunity, but I still didn't think Malik Willis had his fair share. I think they've already handed the title over to him, and I think that's going to close the book on Malik Willis as being a starter. I don't think that's not for me to say, but I think a lot of it had to do with DeAndre Hopkins being his number one target. I mean, we can sit here and we can say that it has nothing to do with it, but I mean, a guy like him, once again, having over 1,000 yards receiving, and then no one even close. Okonkwo, the tight end, Chris Moore had 22. Tajay Spears, 52. Westbrook Akeen. And Traylon Burks, the young guy, has still not, in my opinion, gotten it together. I think, he's got the potential. He just hasn't been able to, throw it together. And that's just, what I'm seeing. He only played 11 games. And then you have to look and think about one Derrick Henry, who is now shade under. He's at that knocking at Father Time's door, and all indications are pointing that the Titans are going to part ways with their franchise player. And I'm assuming that title will now belong to Will Levis. But let's kind of break down where we need to go if we're the Tennessee Titans. The first thing, the biggest things they're going to have are going to be at left tackle and center. We have to also come back and we have to kind of look at who the Titans have as free agents. We already have well documented that Ryan Tannehill is a free agent. We have Titans have excess of $75 million, upwards of the $80 million, more like. They're going to have Derrick Henry more than likely leaving, Ryan Tannehill more than likely leaving. Danico Autry is an interesting here. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of these guys are not going to come back. Now, Danico Autry is unique because he had 11 and a half sacks. Now, if you look at this team, now he's north of 30. He's 33. And he's probably going to command a lot. Now, he's going to be an interesting free agent. But I think the Titans cannot afford. They cannot afford to let him walk. As they cannot afford to let Aziz Algier walk. They can't let him walk. You know, these are guys that are too important to that defense. And, you know, this is a guy that had 163 tackles. And you're going to have to figure out a way to keep this guy. You are going to have to keep this guy on the roster. You know, people are going to say, well, you're not that good and you got $80 million to play with. Well, there's certain guys you have to keep around. Okay, you got Autry, who had 11 and a half sacks. Okay, there are just some things that are just absolute no-brainers, and that is one of them. This is absolutely a no-brainer for me. I'm sorry. There's no getting around this. This is a guy that has to be on this roster. You've got Aaron Brewer. I mean, you can go ahead and you can drop him and see what you have in free agency, but you got $80 million. And ultimately, now this is what I would suggest if I'm the Tennessee Titans. Defensively, you can get a couple of guys to make this interesting. But see, you're talking about, like, Jeffrey Simmons is 26 years old. Now, and he's one of the highest paid. Jeffrey Simmons is on the payroll, and you got this guy for the next 4 years. Okay? So you got the middle taken care of. Now you need to shore up that edge. That is what you need to shore up if you are the Tennessee Titans. You need to get something on that edge. Now, you got certain guys that are right there. You have this guy. But you have to be looking along the lines of getting better and better on the defensive front as well as trying to get younger. That's what the goal is, especially if you got $80 million in cap space. This is why I say when you got major free agents at the tackle position, that's where you need to go. And this is why I say Christian Wilkins is going to get paid this year. He's going to get absolutely paid. Now, Matabuke could end up being another guy that gets paid. He could very well walk to Tennessee and make this a free-for-all as well. But as I said, with $80 million, it could be interesting to see the Titans try to pair DeAndre Hopkins with Mike Evans.
Outstanding. Excellent. Superb. Well done.
It's possible. And the only thing else that you would have to look at is what are they going to do with free agent tailback. Now, there is rumors that the Titans are looking at Deontay Foreman, who performed exceptionally well during his time in Charlotte. I think he could very well be the guy that could make this thing work. However, I'm not saying that this guy is going to be next Derrick Henry. But what I am going to say is that out of all the running backs that are in this draft, you do have Jonathan Brooks, but there are a couple of guys in this draft that remind me a lot of one, Derrick Henry. Now, 5'11", Audric estimate. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, he's not as tall and he's darn sure not as heavy. But the guy has the speed. He has the speed and he has the ability to hit guys and keep going. But here's the other one. He's ranked number 121 on the big board. And you probably know who I'm talking about. Wisconsin's Braylon Allen. Guys, I'm going to say it just like this. If they can snag, and this is what I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. If they come out of this draft and if they got Audric estimate of Braylon Allen on their roster, this is gonna be something serious. Now I get it. Callahan ain't what Vrabel was, and I get it. But here's the reality of it. Callahan's gonna probably regret letting this guy go, because to me, he creates so many different issues when he's on the football field. And the reason being is because he is so big. You have to get Derrick Henry at the point of attack, because if you don't get him at the point of attack, it's like trying to stop a runaway freight train. It just is, and it's no fun for your guys to be getting in front of. And I've even heard somebody say that they could possibly make a run at a possible Austin Eckler and possibly Zach Moss. I'm a firm believer, and of course there's Deontay Foreman, whom would fit in great. But I still think if you're the Tennessee Titans and they leave Braylon Allen and this guy's only 20 years old. By the time the season starts, he'll still be 20 years old, guys. And as I said, he's the biggest thing out there, and he's right there at the same size. And he's almost the exact same type of back. He's 6'2", 245. But let us move on, as Will Levis has done a phenomenal job. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply put the team needs up there for the Tennessee Titans. As I said, I'm not happy with the fact that Malik Willis did not get his fair shake, because I know had he been drafted in Charlotte, we would not have even made the move for Sam Darnold. We would not have possibly made the move for Baker Mayfield. Malik Willis would have at least gotten the opportunity with his raw talent and ability. The Tennessee Titans just left him over there to waste. And I know as Titan fans, if any of you were excited about Malik Willis, those have went out the window. I understand that you guys are very, very, very excited about Will Levis. As I said, I will tell you guys when I did my other show, Growling and Prowling, I was not a fan of Will Levis. And I still got to see the sophomore season. Just got to. But now, the Titans have the 7th pick, the 38th pick, and the 106th pick. And they have 2 7th-round picks from the Panthers and the Eagles. They have the 6th pick at 183. Their 5th-round pick is 144. That is from the Minnesota Vikings. This could very well be a draft that is largely going to be predicated on what the Titans do in free agency. And I'm just going to simply put it out there that I think the Tennessee Titans, of course, need to, as far as the center position goes, I would honestly tell you, I would say Aaron Brewer. He's a free agent. I would let him roll. Nick Allegretti for the Chiefs, I would look at seriously and snatch him up. Evan Brown would be one I would seriously consider snatching up, as well as Brian Allen, which I don't know if the Rams are going to let him walk. But their salary cap situation is interesting. But more to come on that. Connor Williams is one. He's 27 years old. And That's a possibility. I'd say snatch up Connor Williams if I'm the Tennessee Titans. With all of that, you're going to be able to outbid pretty much anybody. And I know a lot of people are going to say the tackle position is one that you can kind of walk out of. But I'm going to be honest with you. You look at the tackle position, it's kind of hit or miss. Like I said, Cornelius Lucas is a free agent for the Commanders, but that's not a huge... that's not one you want to look at. That's not really one you want to look at. The tackle, like I said, the tackle free agent pool is really, really thin, especially the left tackle. Now, your right tackles are a different story. You got an abundance. You got Jonah Williams, Mekhi Becton, Riley Reeve, Trent Brown. Both of these, Riley Reeve and Trent Brown, are free agents from the Patriots. Now, the Patriots more than likely are going to sign those guys back. One of them will be a backup, and the other one will play that right tackle position because one of the biggest issues with the Patriots, they were unable to run the football, and they were unable to, I'm not going to say adequately protect the quarterback, because a lot of that you can't protect with so long, and guys are not getting open. But they could very well remake that O-line. As well as I said earlier, being able to pair Mike Evans with DeAndre Hopkins. Now you have Tyler Boyd, who'd be a great slot, because right now Traylon Burks is not cutting it. You could even go with DJ Shark and put him as a big target on the outside, especially when you have DeAndre Hopkins, but you need somebody that can stretch the defense, and he doesn't really do a great job of that. Mike Evans still does that at 31 years old. You honestly could take three major guys and make this work. And it's just like I'm looking at the DBs. You can see J.C. Jackson got released today by the Patriots. Adoree Jackson is now official. Kendall Fuller is an interesting prospect. You know, you really could go after this guy, but I think the Commanders are pretty much content on allowing him to walk. As you got Chidi Awuzie, 29 years old as well. Kenny Moore from the Colts. Michael Davis, who from the Chargers is absolutely probably going to walk, because this is a guy that the Chargers are over the cap. So they could very well snatch this guy up and then possibly... I don't think... I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about this. Nate Wiggins got hurt today at the Combine. I told you guys in one of the shows previously that I love his size at 6'2", 185. But this guy ran the fastest Combine time at 4.29. Yeah. If this hip injury is not devastating or it's not nearly as bad, he's going to be something. He's going up there. I think he probably overtakes Cooper DeJean for the top corner. So this could be a battle right now. You know, with the Titans being at number 7, they may not be able to trade back. You might have two corners sitting right there at 7 and 8 now. Because I truly believe he's risen more than likely over Cooper DeJean and pushed DeJean below him and below Rome Odunze. Now, as for what the Titans need to do in their linebacking core, I don't see a lot of work needed to do there. I mean, I really don't. You got guys like Danico Autry and Harold Landry III that got 22 sacks between them. And then you got Jeffrey Simmons, and I mean, you could argue you definitely, like I said earlier, you need to get a tackle. Another defensive tackle, either in free agency or you need to pick him up in the draft. But this is just my choice. If the experts say tackle and center, if Joe Alt is there, get him. Get him. If he is not, you take offers, trade offers, and trade back because you need to get a tackle. And of the two, between Fuqua and Fashanu, I like Fashanu's grit, and I like his grit, but for what he goes, got a nastiness about him. But either one of these guys is going to work well. I'm just a big proponent. When you get DBs, they have to have good size. And then, of course, there's Jackson Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon. You don't see very many centers that are first-round grade. This very well could be an option. Just trade back, and get Jackson Powers Johnson with that 17th pick. Get you a couple of draft picks. Maybe you could pick up 2 extra 2s. And then you can get those 2 tackles that you need. Or get you a big-time wide receiver. And as I said, looking here, you could possibly have a Donnie Mitchell available at that position. Or you could even get TJ Tampa, the 6'2", 200-pound corner out of Iowa State. You guys are going to watch me and hear me. I love big physical corners. And even Zach Frazier. Now, this center class is pretty good. Zach Frazier, the 34th ranked player in this draft, over some tackles. And then you got Graham Barton out of Duke, the tackle. Troy Fontenot out of Washington. I mean, you've got some really good players. Amarius Mims out of Georgia. This tackle class is immense, you guys. So there's no excuse for what the Titans could do. You could trade back. If there's a team that is just clamoring to give you picks to move up to get a certain player, hey, go for it. Stack those picks, because there are players out there that you can get. Jackson Powers Johnson is the 17th ranked is the 17th ranked player in this draft, and he's the top center in this draft. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, there's a huge drop-off. No, not really, because if you were to say trade with a team that will give you a first next year or give you a second and a third this year, guess what? You could still, depending on where this pick comes from, you get the 7th pick. You could get a Donnie Mitchell to go here and very well take a kid like Jordan Morgan. Or you could skip a Donnie Mitchell. Let's do that. You could get Keon Coleman, who's still here. Then you get Jordan Morgan, and then let's look on down the board. You still got Kamari Lassiter as a defensive back, and Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. Now I know a lot, and then you got Mike Sanderstill out of Michigan. You've got some really good players in this draft, guys. So really all you could do is you could shuffle it. Now, I'm not sitting here saying what they will do. I'm telling you what I would do, giving you different scenarios and giving you introductions to these players that could be on your team. Tennessee Titans need to make this a priority. Not only drafting a guy like an Audric Estime or a Braylon Allen, who could be the second coming of Derrick Henry, but these are guys that they need. We do this, guys, so we can conversate with you guys. Keep the conversation going and understanding what your team's needs are and understanding what they need to do with the salary cap they have. They have over $80 million in cap. You can either spend that or hold on to that and make some splashes in trades, or you can go make splashes in free agency with a lot of these young players. Christian Wilkins. Anyway, you guys, thank you guys for watching the show. I'm about to get up out of here, but that's your Tennessee Titans and their game plan 1.0 for the offseason. Make sure you go to the Facebook page, Gridiron Gab Pro Style, and check us out. Also, check me out on Instagram at Mr. CeeLo and drop a line if you would. Also, go before you check out, make sure you like and subscribe, you guys. You guys have been awesome checking me out and commenting. Make sure you drop a line and comment what you disagree, what you don't disagree with. We always value your input. Always value your input. But until the next time, you guys, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.